It's a parent who's got a very academically able young person, and they're in year 11, but because of special needs and health needs, they've had some quite significant time off school. And nobody really knows how many of their GCSEs they're actually going to manage to sit, or really what grades they're going to get this summer. But they are a very able young person, and once back on track are fully capable of GCSEs, A levels, and they plan to go off onto university, I think, after eventually. However, the problem is they've got an EHCP, and I'm just reading. Yeah, sorry, the EHCP is being applied for. They're in the EHC needs assessment process.
Right, so they don't have an EHCP.
No, they don't have an EHCP yet, but so actually it's quite good timing because it's being agreed now. It's probably going to be finalised around June. The problem is this young person wants to go to sixth form, resit any GCSEs that they need to start their A levels.
Is it the entry difficulty?
They're not going to get. They're probably not going to get the grades to go to sixth form. But FE colleges don't do resits and do BTEC qualifications rather than A levels generally. What do you reckon?
That's yeah. So we need to be looking at either asking for an extension.
Yeah.
Or placement to see whether or not that can be due to, is it health difficulties?
Yeah, health. Well, yeah, health and special needs. I mean, that's an option, isn't it? Because this is a needs assessment going through, it's quite good timing, because if the educational psychologist, and you could get back in touch with the educational psychologist, if the educational psychologist would recommend that the child restarted year 11 at school
and does a whole year again, and then picks up for everything, because it's not just going to be the academics that have been missed out on in that particular time. It's all that additional preparation for adulthood. It's the social that you need to have in order to be able to feel a part of that group, particularly at that age. It can be very isolating if you've missed out on that particular stage of education. So maybe that's something to discuss with the educational psychologist, whether or they can make that as a recommendation.
It would have to come from professional advice. The local authority would have to agree it, and they would have to write it into section F as provision. So it would say in section F, this child will remain in year 11 for an extended year until September 2025, or this child will be taught with the year 10 cohort, although chronologically year 11, something like that. If it's not in there, the school can't do it, and it can't happen. So yeah, that's definitely one option. Might not be the right option for this child, but
it is an option for some other children, because if other children that are in that position, if they can stagger their exams, and this is going to have a particularly an independent specialist that you can request that you can take some exams either early or at the same age time as the cohort, and then extend and then have additional time in order to pick up on missed education particularly for core subjects.
But I suppose other options are negotiate with the sixth form. Sixth forms are their own admission body. They can set their own admission criteria, and they can say yes and no, and there is nothing that you or the local authority can do about that. If they don't meet their criteria and they're not willing to waiver it, that is the end of the road, really. So you'd have to negotiate with the sixth form, see what you can do. They might be willing to offer a place on a very bespoke, unusual basis.
It's worth getting into a conversation with them and making them fully aware of the history in the background. I think that they're the options that I think I would possibly go for initially.
And then you're left with FE college, which this person's already talked about. I mean, FE college could work. Yes, it's going to be different. They would have to go, if they haven't got their maths and English, they'd have to resit maths and English, and they'd also could start a BTEC level qualification, which is going to lead to the equivalent of 3 A levels and into university. It will land them with exactly the same qualifications and into university. It might seem a bit of a strange option, but it's absolutely doable. And BTEC, good high quality BTECs will get you into the best universities. There is particularly
as the EHCP will continue until 25 and cease at university. So do make sure that you're really, particularly for, you know, looking at the stage from phase transition post 16 onwards, you do have until 25. Yes, your child's voice counts, and they will be asked because they have to state that they are happy to carry on and they're going to engage with education and training. It's something they want to do. The downside of that a lot of the time is because our young people have not had really good careers advice, because no one is telling them the options that are there for them. That makes it really hard, because they look at it and they think, well, what can I do? What do I do? Where do I go? And it can feel like a really lonely environment because there's very few options. But again, if you go to look at the blog that Lily's putting out later on, I've covered a lot of that in the blog, and there's quite a few links in there to give you some ideas of what's available. But do a lot of research. Don't rely upon what the local authority are telling you. You know, in this instance, Google is really good. Do have a look, particularly for vocational work and vocational qualifications within your local area, because a lot of it can be area dependent as to what's available.